Personally, I am a very patriotic Indian. We started with 3 people in a very small room, and today that company, Adani Wilmara joint venture, is the largest FMCG company. And at that time, I think Gautam Bhai would be no more than about 31, 32 years old. And he said that no, we are happy to buy you over. Our chairman has always had very large vision. Commitment is very, very important. Why all the states are inviting us? Because they know कि आज अगर अदानी ने कुछ बोला है कि वो कर देगा, तो वो commitment है, वो कर देगा. Good morning to all of you. Some of the faces, of course, are recognized, or maybe large part of the faces are recognized. So for people who don't know me, I've joined the group almost, this is my 23rd year. I joined in the year 99, right out of my college from Boston, and that is when we were still called Adani Exports Limited. And of course, like all family businesses, you grow up half the time at home and half the time in office. And all the discussions that you have on dining table is only work, nothing but that. So let's go back to Asia House. Very few people know this office, what we called Asia House, that's in Mithakali. That was the first office. We still have it, hardly anybody goes. And then most of you must have seen or probably sat in the office that we had before ACH. We moved to ACH 3 years ago. Earlier to that, we had the Adani house and 4 buildings on the left, all to us. So really, to Captain Raghu's point, the journey has been anything but what it seems today. When actually you have nothing, there's a saying, when you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to worry. So this is how basically the group started, by the first generation. In fact, today also Gautam Bhai is a first generation entrepreneur, as most of you know or most of you have read. So the journey really started when he was 17 years old, and he's a college dropout. He decided that college will give him so much, but actual experience will give him so much. And whatever I'm sharing over here with you today is what I've heard from him over the years. I'm 43 now, so last 43 years what I've been hearing from him is what I'm telling you, or what I've been seeing him. So the journey, of course, started as a small trading company, in the old days. And see, India was also a very restricted country. In the year 99, when I joined, was just about the time when the government opened up things to what they call under the OGL, Open General License. Some of you might know that everything was under Special Import License, what we call the SIL. So अगर आपको कुछ भी import करना था, if you had to get any commodities into the country, you had to get a special license from the government. The government started liberalizing, as we know, post 1991, and that is really when I would say the birth of the Adani Group really accelerated in that form at that point of time. So we didn't have really too much capital to start with. So in those days, government would, like they do today, support small and medium enterprises, which is what we were considered. So we would go to them and ask for monies to open LCs. We would open LCs. That's when we would get the money. So assuming the cost of fund was 10%, these so-called support banks of the government, today of course we have different forms of NBFC, all that, but those days those small banks would charge an arbitrage. So assuming that their cost was 12%, they would charge you 15% or 16%, and then you could still get limits, being nobody. So that's how we started, and we started trading. First we were importers, and then eventually India then became a net exporter of a lot of things. We started exporting commodities. We became one of the largest exporters and importers of commodity, thus calling us a trading company. In the year 1994 is when we listed Adani Exports, and about, I think, the year 2000 is when we renamed ourselves as Adani Enterprises, because we felt that just Adani Exports made us look like people who are just into exports business. So, but then from 2000 onwards, we started then a real journey started where we said that, from just businesses of trading, we should start looking at infrastructure. In the year 1994 is when the government of Gujarat floated a policy where they said that you can actually privatize ports under what they call the minor port policy for privatization of ports. And I still remember when I would tell my friends that we are owners and running ports, people would not believe, because they always felt there are certain businesses to be owned and run by the government, and ports was one of them. But that actually showed the thinking of the government at that point of time that the real business of the government is to have policies to regulate, but at the same time their business is not to run business. So slowly, this is when I would say the germination of the thought of the government for privatization or disinvestment really started. We first were partners with Cargill. Cargill is an American company, and really what we had planned in Mundra was just one jetty for exports of salt. A lot of salt was exported for industrial uses, and Kutch being on the coast, there was a lot of salt growing that was done over there. So we had planned a jetty, but then I think in the year 1997, government opened up the policy saying that there is direct FDI allowed in the port section. Earlier there was no FDI allowed, they had to have below 50%, so about 49% is what they could have. So Cargill was 49%, we were 51%. And we had told them that it will be as good as both of us being 50-50, but just because of the norms, you hold 49% and we will hold 51%. Right when the FDI policy came in, Cargill comes to us and tells us that, he comes to chairman and tells them that now we are wanting to hold 51% because government is allowed, so we want to buy you out. And at that time I think Gautam Bhai would be no more than about 31-32 years old. And he said that no, you're a very big company. And today also, for people who don't know, Cargill is one of the largest privately held companies. I think it should be about $200 billion plus company. It's based out of in America. So we said no, we are not for sale, and we are happy to buy you over. So we bought the port over. We had no idea how to run ports, but we were the owner of a port in Mundra. And at that time, because of government support, they kept 26%, the government kept, and the rest 74% was with us. And then, over the years, the rest, as you guys know, is history. We slowly, the government wanted to wanted development to happen, and then they would exit. So today it's 100% held by us, and that was the first port, the Mundra port, that I think most of you must have visited. And if not, then I would request Captain Raghu to have one of the Fulcrums over there for them to see, because that is one, what we call our Karma Bhumi, where we have many of the largest projects which the country is proud of, whether it's the largest power plant, whether it is one of the world's largest agri refineries, whether it's the largest solar manufacturing, it is the largest port over there, it's one of the largest LNG and LPG terminals over there. So everything that you will see over there is the largest. And we have a lot of land bank for the next, over 50 to 100 years to do development over there. I came back in 99, and that's when we formed the joint venture with a company called Wilmar Trading. Wilmar, as you know, today is a $100 billion company by market cap. But in those days, I think they were about 100 million, and we were about $100 million market cap. 4-5 crore ka market cap tha, because we were more a trading company and they were called Wilmar Trading. But the vision was always there that India in those days imported a lot of oil. Today, to feed 1.3 billion people, we require a lot of food. Now, unfortunately, in India, because of our productivity, we do not have enough food. So I don't know if most of you know, but we import a lot of our food needs, including our proteins, what we call pulses, dal and all that, plus all our edible oils, plus a lot of other food products we import. We are self-sufficient in wheat and in rice because of the green revolution and the movement that happened by Swaminathan committee. And of course, the dairy products also used to be imported, but now after the white revolution, we have enough dairy products. So that's when we formed the joint venture. And that was the first refinery in Mundra that I had the pleasure of being a part of and leading the team. We started with 3 people in a very small room, and today that company, Adani Wilmara joint venture, is the largest FMCG company in over 22 years. And I think now by market cap we are about 100,000, 1 lakh crore. By sales we are larger than Hindustan Unilever. So our chairman has always had very large vision, and that was about the time when the power policy came in, where again he was very clear that we won't have enough electricity for India. So that's when we took the stall to put up India's largest. In fact, the power plant that we have in Mundra was initially thought to be only 330 megawatts, which today is 4,600 megawatts. So I'm just trying to say that you see the audacity of his vision, but he has a lot of clarity on the way forward. And frankly, I can tell you that anybody would be lying to say that if in the year 2000 did we know or did we think we will be as large? Definitely not. But today I can tell you that this is just the beginning. That much confidence for sure we have, that I can tell you. Now, what are the 2-3 things, or what are the 2-3 values that that we have? And I can keep on going on and on if we talk about storytelling, because it's not just about the port that we have or the power. And this is all in front of my eyes. But I mean, my experience, I'm talking about from 99. So
there's a story before that also.
So there's a story before that also, that the part when we were frankly nothing and starting from there, but going on from here, I can keep on going on. I remember in the year 2004 when we started Adani Gas, that was the time when we thought that why should Indians still be having LPG cylinders in their kitchen? Why can't they just have a pipeline like our electricity? आपको जब electricity चाहिए आप off कर देते हो, जब चाहिए तो on कर देते हो. Why can't we have a gas also that cooking gas, when we can switch on and when we can switch off? One thing about the chairman, I must say that how to spot the right talent for the right thing is he has a very good eye. This is something that you as leaders should always keep an eye on, is spot the right talent. This is something that is very important. And then of course a lot of our businesses post that you guys are all aware about, so I won't spend so much time in that. So what are the 2-3 things that we frankly stand by at the Adani Group? And this is something that you guys should note down and mentally remember, that it is our value system. And our value system is CTC. And it's not cost to the company, but it is courage, trust and commitment. And this, in the year 2011, we did a whole rebranding exercise. हम पहले Adani Export थे, फिर हमने Adani Enterprise किया. Then we thought कि Adani Enterprise is eventually, first we got the port company out, then we got the power company out for listing. So that's when we started thinking that here is the like a incubation, like a mother, where we'll develop businesses, and once they come to scale, we will start listing them or moving them in their own direction with their own focus. In the year 2011, we did a whole rebranding exercise. So we said that now basically our brand should just be brand Adani. So that's when we thought that now we need to articulate in writing what is our value system, what is our culture, what are the other things that bring this group together. Because as you know, today each of our company is so large in size that we have to understand that, and each company is very independent, as most of you know. So what we started doing is how we have to separate the corporate and how we have to keep basically the companies, where we also have the governance, company running by its system, and at the corporate level how we can have policies and more regulations up there where, how the interaction should be there. So the brand Adani stands at our corporate, which is what our corporate brand custodianship holds. There are do's and don'ts with the brand. But one of the most important thing, besides the brand book, which you guys can go online and see it, I think important thing is our culture and our value system. I just want to spend a little bit time, and I'm trying to weave in our value system with storytelling, and I'll come with every word that we have. So one is courage. Now, why we've thought of courage? If you see through our journey last 30 years, every decision that the group has taken is courageous. मैं आपको बताऊं कि इंडिया के बेस्ट people from the power industry, and I'm not talking about just NTPC government companies, I'm talking about from the best private companies and internationally. When they came, they said that, those days power plants used to be like 110 megawatts and all that. So when they came to brief the chairman, they said that, we should maybe look at things like 200 megawatts if you really want to be large. He says, why 200 and why 100? Why can't we add another zero and look at 1000? So that guy was speechless. He's like, what are you talking 1000 megawatts? Kabhi power, ek to pehle power generation private company के लिए तो अभी खोलने का हम plan कर रहे हैं. Because in India, earlier to that, it was all run by the government, as you know. So coming back to courage, I'll bring in another story. So one is, I told you about power. I remember for edible oils, at that time we had Dr. Kurian from the company called GCMMF and Amul, as some of you might know. And that time there was a gentleman, Dr. B.M. Vyas, who was their MD, and from Anand. When they came, they said that आप refinery लगा रहे हो edible oil की. So he says, yeah, तो इंडिया की सबसे बड़ी है 110 टन per day की. So आपको अगर 200-300 टन की लगानी है तो ठीक है. तो he says कि no, I'm planning to put up 600 tons per day. 600 tons per day refinery. You know how large that was? That was the first port-based refinery. In those days आप देखोगे तो जहाँ पर खेतों में जहाँ जैसे सरसों ग्रो होता है तो आजू बाजू आपको कच्ची घानी की what do you call that, those mills होती थी, हाँ, the घानीज. और यहाँ पर हमारे यहाँ सिंग तेल जो गुजरात में चलता है तो आपको सिंग तेल की फैक्ट्रीज मिलेगी, या आपको you will see cotton seed plants, you will see. Or in the soybean growing area for people who are from Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, के around the soya mills जो solvent extractors, solvent extraction होता था. But this was the first time that we planned to put up a large plant on the port. So, this only shows that the audacity to take big decisions. आप मानोगे नहीं कि whether it is अपना port का business हो, अपना power का हो, अपना agri का हो, ये सब whenever we go to the banks, even they are shocked because they have never seen anything like this before. जब आप उनको बोलो 600 टन का import based plant तो बोलेंगे अरे इंडिया में ये तो पहला वाला है, हमने तो कभी देखा नहीं है, कैसे होगा? तो उनको समझने को ही इतना टाइम लगता था. So everything that we have done is, I would say, largely maiden even for the country. So which we are very proud about, which is why we say, building the infrastructure for India, something that India needs. So courage is something that, as a group, we have always taken bold and large decisions. And once we take decisions, you have to stand by it. This is very important for the total leadership over here. Okay, whatever decision you take, you think about it. I mean, it's not reckless decisions. These are thought over decisions. These are decisions that, at the end of the day, you can keep on planning, but eventually your instincts, eventually a calculated decision has to be taken. And when it's taken, you have to stand by it. So this is courage, why one of our value system is courage. The other value that we have is one of trust. Now, what is trust? This group, when it was formed, we have always believed that when you give your word to someone or when you say something to anyone, then you have to stand by it. Till anyone breaks your trust, never ever mistrust people. Because see, in this group, we have grown over the years by relationships. You will still be surprised that people who know the chairman since 1980s, even today, they swear by him. They know. In fact, I was in Bombay yesterday. So I had met someone who knew him since a long time, and he says even today he's not changed. He's the same. What it comes to say that relationship that you're building is based on a fundamental base of trust. So you always have to trust one. For example, leaders have to trust their people. When people are coming and telling you something, you cannot not trust them. That's a way of life. So for us, trust is something that over the years we have believed is a value system. And the last value system that we have is one of commitment. And I'll tell you, this is also very interesting. See, we are actually born traders when we started the group. और ट्रेडिंग के धंधे में क्या होता है कि I don't know if some of you might know, it's like a very volatile thing. So today if I do some business with you, tomorrow the prices can go up or down. And I'm talking about all trading commodities. So what happens is, gone are the days when, in the old days you would not have so many contracts and all that, and we have always believed कि जब किसको आप जुबान दे दो कि जब मैंने आपको बोल दिया, that is more important than even writing down, because if you write down, there are ways to get out of it, but once you give your commitment, it is something that you stand by. And I can tell you one thing, that this is one thing over the years I have seen, that commitment is very, very important. So for example, today we say that we are committed to a higher purpose. Many times people tell me that chairman at this age also is working so hard. A lot of the senior people are working so hard. So I always tell them they are working hard, but they are enjoying. They are enjoying because they have a higher purpose, and the purpose is what we believe in is building infrastructure for India, building India, helping India to its true sense. In the year 2001, we had a very large earthquake, as most of you know, in Kutch. When the earthquake happened, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken,
26
it was 26 Jan. No, I know, but I think it was a Sunday.
It was Sunday.
It was a Sunday. It was a Sunday, and when I woke up, I was with Gautam Bhai at that time. We were having breakfast. He says that we all should go today only over there, because one, we have such large investment, but more importantly, it'll show our commitment to our people. That we are not sitting in Ahmedabad. In the afternoon we were in the car, Captain. In the evening we were in Kutch. And I still remember, by the grace of God, अपना जो मुंद्रा port था, when the epicenter was, I think, Anjar. Anjar was the epicenter, Bachao and Anjar. So luckily, our port was, nothing happened to the port, nothing happened to the people of the port, because it was 26 January, so we had called everyone for the flag hosting and the celebration. So luckily nobody was at home, and one of the buildings fell off in Bhuj, but luckily we've been okay. But devastation around was so much, and that was the time when really our foundation, the Adani Foundation, did a lot of work for the people over there. And that is when people, even today, they remember that the kind of work that the group did. And believe me, today also I'm telling you that लोग बोलते हैं अरे आप ये CSR करते हैं. For people who know the chairman or people who spend time with the chairman, you will understand that वो कभी ये नहीं बोलते कि CSR I am doing for people. Our belief system, it's not because we are Jains or anything, but our belief system is such that it's always more pleasurable to give than to take or to ask. So it's a way of life for us, and this is a normal way of life, that how can you be developing so much and people around you not be developing. So I think the most important thing is पहले ये देखना है कि people around you, societies around you, have to be developing. So then they are very happy in your growth also. So this was about the time when we thought of this growth with goodness. And there is a reason why we have thought of our theme of growth with goodness. Many people would have said कि अरे ये line हमने देखा है, but I don't know how many of you know actually why we got this. When we were growing, we felt that, see, everybody has to do some kind of CSR, all the companies which are making profit. I think the government right now says about 2% or something. And I don't know if many of you might know, we are doing far, far, far higher than 2%. And that is clearly because we don't Law is for people who want to break something. That's why you have to make a law. Law is not for people who are pro bono from inside, feel to do it. So 2% has never stopped us. We have always been doing in excess of 2%. But more importantly, we always feel that the larger you get, the larger responsibility as a group we have. So when we became large, we felt that we can have everybody does CSR, even he does, even I do. But the larger you are, the more impactful you can do. So growth with goodness. So the larger you grow, the more good you can do. So that is what the theme that we have comes from there, exactly. So personally, I am a very patriotic Indian, and I don't know how many of you know, but we're taking very big leaps in sports, and that we are only doing. And something that I started about 6 years ago is this marathon, in which you must now get involved also in. This is we do it for the armed forces. This we do in Shantigram. We started with 3,000 people, and now we have 10,000 people running. This is for all the armed forces, for the Air Force, for the Army and the Navy. All the money that we make from the runners, equivalent amount is put from the group and is donated to all the armed forces. So, really, I've always been a patriotic Indian. So there are a lot of things that we believe in. Just on the last part on commitment, I want to tell you, and on the second value system of trust, many a times I discuss with chairman and we talk about joint ventures. I don't know how many of you know, but we have a lot of joint ventures. In fact, we have joint ventures going on. Like one of the first few joint ventures we had was with Wilmar. It is a 50-50% joint venture. Of course, right now we also have with Total, the Adani Total Gas. It's again a 50-50. See, when you say 50-50 joint venture, there is a lot of responsibility we have, because we basically run as far as businesses go in India, because they have looked at Adani's to come in joint venture. But having said that, we have a lot of joint ventures which are partners holding 30%, 35%, 25%. See, we have to see that bhale economically they are 25% and you are 75%, or they are 40%, we are 60%. That doesn't mean that
you treat them.
You have to treat them equally. आज कोई भी relationship के अंदर how you treat people shows. How you treat companies, it shows in our being. Today, what is it that I still have to think and find if there are any companies which have joint ventures of over 23 years. 99% of the joint ventures are broken off. Very few are there. So actually, देखा जाए तो a book can be written on the partnership that we have, because partnerships can only be on things like transparency, on things like trust. Today, my partner knows that if I take a decision of 500 crores also, there is not a single paper moved to us to say that, why we took it, that, because they trust us. And that can only happen because, like I said, you have to have, of course, a system of governance. That's an understood thing. But at the end of the day, the trust for each other, the transparency that you have, that is very, very important in any relationship, whether it is partnerships, whether it is husband and wife, whether it is joint ventures, these are very important. And to us, it doesn't matter whether you are 40% and we are 60%, we treat you equally. And like I said, relationship is so important. Whatever relationship we build are for lifetime. It is never, you would have seen about the group, there are so many people with us. There are so many people who we have supported. There are so many people even today, irrespective whether they are in position or not. They've always been our friends. So, and then that you see over the years. So I think that also is very important. And I think one last thing that I must tell you, and you guys, as you know, we are wanting to develop future leaders. So this is a discussion that we had when we were sitting in the Family Apex meeting, that the way we are growing, we need a lot of top leadership to eventually take this group to where we envision to be. What we have done in the last 30 years, I can tell you, the velocity that we are growing with right now, we are going to be accelerating at a much faster pace. वो बोलते हैं ना कि पहले few blocks जो growth के होते हैं, those are the tough ones. But then you multiply it. So now the kind of acquisitions that we are doing, the kind of acquisitions that we are thinking right now, is only going to accelerate the group, which clearly means, I can tell you, the only reason that we are growing so slow today. Many people might laugh and say, "Arey yaar, we are the fastest growing," but the reason why we are growing slow today, the bottleneck is leadership. That is the only bottleneck that we have, and I can tell you clearly, if we have, we have 30 years sitting in the room is what I'm told. If we have 300 of this, we can grow much faster, and if we have 3,000 of you, we will grow multifolds. So really, this is such a perfect time to have our Fulcrum, and this is such a perfect time to have our, so to say, your Adani tribe getting ready with our value system, with our culture, that this will only really help us to grow. And we have a lot of expectations from the team sitting in this room. Like I said, I think now from here, the journey has just begun in the sense that the way we can now multiply. And I'm sure with your commitment and with your trust on the group, this will take us to a different level. One thing that the group really expects out of you is ownership. This is our group. It is very, very important that you all take a decision. आज जैसे आप अगर घर के लिए जो लेते हैं, आप जैसे लेते हैं, because see, with passion comes ownership, and I know that you guys are very passionate about whatever you're doing. No business, no vertical, this thing is small. Everything is important. So I think it is very, very important how we make an impact, how we make a difference, and always remember we are doing something for a higher purpose. And once that is in your mind, I think sky is the limit. We can do wonderful. We all are so blessed to be in India. When I came back, a lot of my friends, would want to settle in the US. I would always tell them that this is where the growth is going to be. And I still stand by what I said 23 years ago when I came here, that the real next few decades, I'm no expert to say whether it will be 5 trillion or 30 trillion or 40 trillion, but I can tell you the next few decades are decades of India. We are blessed to be at the right place at the right time, and we will be stupid not to take advantage of where we are right now, not to take advantage and not to get the best out of ourselves, the best out of our country. And I think we owe it to our country that we should do something large, something big, and something impactful that people will remember us. And today we have a fulcrum, we have a pipe called the Adani Group. So जो भी आपके सपने, जो भी आपके dreams है, live it here, and you'll do proud. You'll do proud not only to us, also to the country and to the company. Thank you.